Hey everyone, in this episode we're going to talk about the film Escape Room. We're going to discuss the characters that survived and didn't. We'll break down each escape room, and we'll explore the possibility of this film becoming a franchise. This is episode 108 of the Reel-ists podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reel-ists podcast. I'm Donnie.
We got a new theme song. And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer, Ruben.
Hi.
Hi. And Ruben, what is your movie quote for this episode? Why?
I didn't think of one.
Come on. You had a week to think of one.
We had 2 weeks, technically.
Okay, so the next episode that we record, you have to have one ready, okay? You got about like 35 to 40 minutes. Anything.
108, everyone.
Yeah, 108. Exactly. Episode 108. Remember that. Oh, man. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Before we jump into this episode, just want to remind you guys quickly. Sorry, that was my phone. I apologize.
Please silence your phone when you go see a movie.
Yes, please silence all devices when listening to this episode. We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Team Reel-ists, Team Reel-ists, no dash. If you also want to leave us a comment on YouTube, you can do that. If you also want to leave us a comment and rate us on iTunes, you can do that as well. And don't forget to just always please spread the word about the Reel-ists podcast to anybody you know. We're just trying to grow our podcast and get more listeners.
Yeah, we did an excellent first year. We'll go into number specifics, but yeah, it was awesome. It was a great year.
Yeah.
So let's double.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And yeah, it's going to be 2019. I think is going to be a good year for the Reel-ists podcast.
Ooh.
Mark my word.
Ooh. Can't wait for December now.
Right? All right. So this week, in this episode at least, we are going to talk about the film Escape Room, which we saw. Obviously, we just saw it.
It's the number one movie of 2018
right now. It is our top film of 2019.
Oh, I said 18. I realized
as of right now. I guess we can't. No, we're not. No, never mind. I was going to say another film, but that came out technically in 2018. So
right.
Never mind. Oscar, why don't you start us off with some of your amazing quick thoughts?
All right. So for Escape Room, that's how I'm calling it. Just kidding.
I thought the same thing too. When I was Escape.
No, but Escape Room is it's not a horror film in that way. So I wouldn't describe it as like it's a fun horror film, but it's just a fun thriller. Yes, it has those cliche, moments that you would expect with a movie that involves surviving and being, trapped and you have to solve your way out, especially with a group of people. But it still managed to be entertaining thoroughly. Just, I think what was interesting was as a viewer, you were also intrigued on what the next challenge was going to be. Not necessarily how it connected to the characters. I didn't really connect in that way with I was just like, oh, how does this relate to our characters? I was more of like, what's the mystery they have to solve here? Yeah, it was enjoyable. The characters managed to be at least good enough to be able to have some interest in them throughout the film. They started off kind of one-dimensional, and for the most part, they stay one-dimensional, but you get a little bit more interested if they make it out alive or how they don't make it out alive. But yeah, it was a nice thriller, I would say. It's not the best thriller you've seen, or I've seen at least, or you're probably going to see for most listeners, but it's still one that if you kind of just want to, if you're interested in an escape room or if you have been in an escape room, maybe you might be able to be like, oh, I want to see how they twist it up. But yeah, I enjoyed it for what was delivered. My expectation, though, was already low, but it just,
yeah,
it just was right there. It's exactly where it was supposed to be.
Okay, so you went in with low expectations, and
I got
it met
that,
low
yeah.
expectations. Wow. No, man, keep it real. I like it. All right. So 6 strangers find themselves in circumstances beyond their control and must use their wits to survive. That's pretty much it. I thought that this film, I mean, I'm not going to lie, Oscar, I was kind of right there with you. It wasn't going to be like, come award season, like, you know, picture of the year or anything.
It would
But
have been nice if it surprised us. Yeah.
can you imagine? Picture, like, movie of the year, picture of the best picture at the Academy Awards. Escape Room. Best actress in a lead role. Like,
oh my god,
she just comes out of nowhere. Like, what? I thought Escape Room was fun. I thought I figured it was going to be like a nice kind of thriller, a good time. You know, like easy watching. I don't have to go and like really super pay attention. Like if you know, midway through, if I needed to get up and go use the restroom or wanted to go buy some popcorn and come back, I could jump right back in. Like, I didn't miss much. Maybe a person died, but that was it. But I thought it was just going to be an easy watch and a good time, and it was. I think it was fun. Like you said, the characters were pretty one-sided, one-dimensional, not really layered. You know, but I mean, it's fine. You know, I wasn't expecting them to be super well developed or anything. I just thought that the main driving force behind the film was going to be, you know, be them, puzzles, escaping these different rooms that in each room had its own set of challenges and characteristics. So, you know, and that's what I got, and I thought it was a good time. And so I think if you like those kind of films, I think this would be a good one.
It's a very like watered down Saw.
Yeah, you did say that. You got Saw vibes
because there was the killings were kind of, then they weren't necessarily punishment. It wasn't like they were being chosen to die and they had to choose their own fate. Nothing like that. It was, they were selected for a reason, but they just had to survive based off their knowledge and intelligence. It wasn't actually like, what's the lesson you're learning here? You know, it wasn't like that in Saw.
And that's Saw was like, it was more I feel like it was more
like
the people that were there it was for a specific reason, like each personal reason. Like everybody had their own personal reason.
Exactly.
This one, it was like you all have this one thing in common when we kind of just randomly chose you, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the gist of it is these. Well, I don't know, started off with like 6 people.
Yes.
Something like that, and they were all like sole survivors of an accident.
Yeah.
Although that's kind of my first problem, because one of the questions I had was, okay, why did we specifically choose these group of like these 6 people? What was special or unique about them?
I could only assume was that they invited more people, and only the 6 were able to solve the initial puzzle.
Right. So that was another thing. So for them to even get into this escape room, like they had to they got this box in the mail, and they had to it looked like the box from Hellraiser. That's the first thing I thought of. This kind of box that you kind of have to tinker with, and things pop up and it shifts and things unlock, and I don't know, it was weird. But anyways, the invitation was in the inside of the box. So it's like in real life, there's no way I would have thought to try to open this box. I wouldn't know that there was an invitation in this box, and I have to figure out, I have to hit it in the right spot, or I have to rub it the right way for it to release the invitation.
And even if I got the invitation, I don't think my tendency would be like, let me go. I would be like, this was a random, someone could have told me, been like, hey, I sent you this, if you come you win $1 million. Just that, because to me it felt like it was just another ad. I didn't take it as oh, this is a personal chance for me to actually receive $10,000.
Yeah, and I would, exactly. And I probably wouldn't even believe it at first. I'd be like, this is BS. Or even if I did believe it, I probably wouldn't have, I wouldn't be that motivated to go, oh, I need to check this out.
Some characters made sense on why they went. At least maybe only one comes to mind. But I feel like realistically it would be kind of hard to justify going to an escape room, first of all, by yourself. If I'm going to an escape room, I'm bringing my friends or family members that I want to have fun with. I would not go to my own escape room because I would fear that I'm not going to actually get out. But
right,
that's one of the things where it was just the setup didn't land. But once we're there,
So some of the characters that did end up going to the escape room, we had Amanda. She survived. She was in the army. She did time in the army, and she survived like this explosion.
Oh, one of her tours, yeah.
One of her tours in Iraq. We had Zoe, who was kind of the very super shy, super quiet, really smart girl, like little mousy little thing.
Yeah.
And she survived a plane crash with her family in Indonesia, I believe.
Yes.
We had Ben, played by Logan Miller, who we loved in Love, Simon. Well, we didn't love him in Love, Simon.
I was like, wait, what?
But we loved the movie Love, Simon. Right. But we had Ben, and he survived a drunk driving car wreck.
Yeah.
He was the drunk driver. We had Mike, who survived he was like a mine guy. He worked in the mines, and something happened, and
one of those freak accidents.
And he was the only survivor there. We had Danny, who was super into the escape rooms, kind of very nerdy and very all about, like, he was so excited to be there. What was his carbon monoxide poisoning?
Yes. Yeah.
And then we had Jason, who was the macho, business guy, worked on Wall Street, only cared about himself pretty much. And he survived a boating accident, although it made it seem like, that was one of my problems, was the boating accident that he survived. It was only him and one other person from what they told us, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, that's like a stretch. Like, I was the sole survivor between like me and another person. Like, that doesn't really count. There has to be a minimum of like 4 people around for you to be a sole survivor.
Does the cold water does hypothermia not come into factor about that?
What do you mean?
It was only one jacket.
Oh yeah, I know.
They were experiencing hypothermia.
Right. So anyways, those were the characters, and they started off in what at first we thought was a waiting room, but that was actually the first escape room. So now it gets good, because now we're starting to like, okay, here, this is what we came to the movies for, to see these escape rooms, how they're going to escape them or not. And so the first one, let's talk about the rooms for a second. The first room was basically like an oven,
yeah,
pretty much. I mean, that was the one that I was really nervous about, like after watching the trailer, because that just would suck to
be like
burning alive. And I really was nervous about that. Like, as soon as the oven dial turned on and like it started warming up, I was getting really nervous. Thankfully nobody died in that one.
Yeah, they all made it out.
This is a spoiler review, by the way. Just wanted to throw that out there. Don't want to forget that.
We ain't changing in 2019.
No, we ain't. You should know by now, every episode is pretty much a spoiler episode, but just wanted to remind you guys. So that was the first escape room, and they all escaped, right?
Yeah.
And then we had the second escape room, which was
the cabin was in itself. One of the rooms was kind of like the lead up to the next room, I guess.
Yeah, right. So then they were in this cabin, but they couldn't get out. But nothing was dire. They just were trying to get out, and they finally did. They cracked the code, and then they got out into what looked like just wilderness, but like freeze. It looked like they were in the Arctic. Like, it was freezing snow everywhere. There was
the temperature was dropping.
The temperature was dropping, and it was crazy. And this is where we saw Danny go bye-bye.
Off to the sunset.
Yeah, let's just say he didn't escape that one. So then they get to the pun intended. He didn't. So then we get to the next one, the next room, which is like an upside down pool table bar thing.
Yeah.
But it's all upside down. That was pretty crazy. And that's where Amanda also said goodbye.
Did not escape. Could not escape.
So now we're down to 4. And then we had the next one, which was, what was that one?
The next one was the hospital.
It was kind of like, it looked like a hospital, and all of the people. But see, there's the thing. Okay, so Oscar, you said that. I just thought of something. Sorry. When you said maybe they invited a bunch of people, but see, they were banking on only those 6 people showing up, because in that escape room, they had the 6 beds with their 6 personal files for each person.
I will say, not that I'm defending the movie, but I will say the argument could be made that once they started the escape room with the 6, they just put in their files in that room because they didn't know who was going to make it, but they knew these 6 are here. So,
right.
I don't know. That's just my. Because it was being monitored the entire time. The entire time the escape rooms were being monitored. So that would be my argument for that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fair. Yeah, that's very fair. Okay. So that was that escape room. And then that's where we said goodbye to Mike. And
mind you, this movie was like an hour and 49-minute movie, but Donnie's recapping it in like
I'm just going through the escape rooms. I'm just talking about this. Well, I'm talking about the characters too, but
I know, but it's just hilarious that it's like you're saving them like an hour and more than an hour and a half to have seen the movie.
Right? Helping you guys out here, giving you the cliff notes. So then we say goodbye to Mike and we say goodbye to Zoe, or maybe, I don't know.
Just
continue to listen.
Did you not see the movie?
Stick around to find out if we really say goodbye to Zoe. So then it's just down to 2, and then the I think this is the final escape room.
Yes.
Was this weird optical illusion like thing where
delusion kind of was like the factor.
Yeah, it was like a black and white checkered all around, and it just looked really bizarre. And they were trying to open something, and
that had a toxin that got...
Yeah, it looked like this like kind of toxic secretion thing,
Yep.
like something that would come off of like a poison dart frog or something, that was on their hands, which started causing them to hallucinate. And then anyway,
they fought
over an anecdote.
Yep.
But
who didn't escape that room?
Jason. Jason didn't escape that room. So then we're just left with Ben, the winner. Oh, or so we thought. But before we continue on how it ends, I wanted to ask you, out of all those rooms that we watched in the film, what do you think was like the most unique one? Or like, what was your favorite?
I would say the Arctic cold room was probably my favorite, because it's taking the whole idea of escape room to that movie level where it's worthy of being on like the big screen. Because the other ones were very simple, you know, there wasn't anything that was being over the top in terms of like, you know, using advantage of being on a big screen. They were just within a confined room. But this one kind of made you feel like it was outside. Like you didn't feel like you were in a room. So I thought that was just kind of where that creative part really showcased of what a movie escape room could do, you know. And I don't know if that's going to set expectations where people want to be like, you know, recreating these kind of scenes, but I don't know. I feel like that was the one that really was able to think big compared to the other ones, where it was just like, one was just like, oh, let's just heat up this one. Or the other one, let's just turn it upside down. This one was just like, let's really make you feel like you are outside and you're trying to, you know, get the key to go back inside.
The crazy thing about that one, too, is, I mean, because it looked like it just expanded for miles and miles. But when there was a certain point that Danny kind of got to, I guess, one of the walls, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
And he put his hand up and you could see that there was some kind of invisible
screen. It was like a screen, yeah. Not projector, but yeah. In that
I mean,
sense,
it didn't look like it, but like when you put your hand against it, you could see, you can't go past it.
Right,
it's like a glass window pretty much. And the other crazy thing about that is there was they were standing on ice, frozen ice, and under it was freezing cold water, which is what Danny fell into. But it's like, I'm just like, how do you replicate that so effectively in what appears to be like an office building, like, you know, structure?
Yeah.
Because when they all showed up to the escape room, they were all looking at this really big building.
Yep.
So it's like, and I mean, I don't know. And another thing, speaking of that escape room, is when they went to get a fishing pole to try to fish for like something out of the water, and they dropped the line. It kept dropping and dropping and dropping. That line went down like meters and meters.
Right.
So it's like, it wasn't just like a little like pool. It was like a deep,
yeah.
You know. So it's like, I'm just like,
and I mean, the realistic side of it, it's probably impossible to actually do that kind of room. But that's what I liked about it, that it really took advantage of this fun activity you can do with, you know, friends or with strangers, however you want to go to an escape room, and really expand on that idea. And so I feel like that. If we had more rooms like that, I think it would have made escape room stand out just a little bit more, because it would have really got you to like think big. Like, you know, obviously, I'm not saying we own an escape room, but if we own an escape room, we would be like, okay, what are some clever things we can do? And we'll probably come up with like maybe a good amount of ideas that realistically we just can't afford or we can't actually produce, but a movie can. So
yeah. Okay. I think my favorite escape room was probably the upside down one, with the bar. I thought that was pretty cool, and I really liked. Maybe it made me feel a little, I guess, not safe, but I felt the first escape room like you're at the mercy of like it heating up and you could possibly burn up, and then the second one was like the opposite, where you could freeze to death and get hypothermia.
Yeah.
Or hypothermia, right? I always get those two mixed up. I think it's hypothermia if it's cold, right? But with this one, I was like, okay, finally, there's one that like temperature is not a factor. It's like something else. So I was like, but I did like it. I thought it was cool, and I really like. That's when Amanda had to like kind of. There was a lot going on in that room. There was like this kind of big puzzle, like sliding puzzle that Zoe was trying to work on, and the floor was like steadily collapsing underneath them. Which another thing.
Yeah, that kind of expanded on the. This is only could happen in a movie.
Yeah, because it's like when the floor was falling down, there was like, I mean, there was just meters and meters of just empty space. Like, I mean,
right.
I don't understand how are you guys building this?
Which is, I think that's the fun part of the escape rooms for the movie, was thinking too big. Because if they would have kept it very simple, where they were just like, oh, we need to find how to open this door, but there's no big thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Like if they just had a timer in the room, then it would have been like, I could go do that myself. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it would have been like, you expect me to pay like all this money for a movie ticket to come watch you guys bust out of like a little makeshift like escape room with like nothing really, grand or something really
like
cool or over the top.
I've just seen Fuller House, and they did an escape room in one of the episodes in the new season, and it was very simple. Like I was not interested in the escape room at all. It was just kind of like I'm just here because you guys are forcing me to watch this scene. Like it wasn't like anything to be excited for. But yeah, it was different with this one. This one was kind of like the environment was what we should have been excited for.
Yeah. So kind of fast forwarding to the ending here. So Ben wins, or we think. He's the sole survivor amongst all the sole survivors. And he comes face to face with the guy who helped build / create this escape room. And he's basically saying that that people are paying money to watch you guys.
Which
pretty much. So initially or immediately, what I thought of was The Purge. I think I'm thinking of the second one. The second Purge.
Yeah.
When at the end, when it was like they had all those rich white people like behind the glass and they were just watching, and they were like paying money. It reminded me of that. So then it's like, okay, so we're gonna go with that angle, that this is kind of like a. And he kind of used the comparison of like, oh, well, back, in the Roman days, they used to watch gladiator fights. Like people just like to, watch these things happen, like watch, man compete for survival. And, it's kind of a sick and twisted justification as to why he's doing this and why this is happening to all of them. And he tries to kill Ben, which is like one point that you and I, Oscar, we were both like, well, we were hoping that it would at least like, because the thing was, if you won this escape room, you'd get the $10,000 cash prize. Correct. So I'm like, well, I mean, not to say that $10,000 is going to make up for what just happened to him, but I was hoping at least they would be like, we're going to keep our word. Here's $10,000. You win.
And then you kill you.
You can walk away or something. But he just flat out tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, and then Zoe came in and we find out that Zoe made it. Woo! She didn't really die.
Dun, dun, dun.
She didn't really die, which is crazy because last time we saw her, she was foaming at the mouth. She was unconscious on the ground. The carbon monoxide was polluting all of them and killed Mike. So
best performance so far for 2019.
I don't know how she got out of there. Little movie magic, little plot convenience, but it's okay. We'll roll with it. And then they end up escaping after they kill the guy.
Right. Who ended up, which is very odd because as soon as they started fighting, the screen that was telling them who had died added him on the screen.
Yeah, so then he then became a player in the game, and then he died.
And then he died. So then he got red marked.
So then there's even like other people like higher ups that are controlling. He was just like a little piece of the puzzle, but
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So that was Escape Room, and then. To really just talk about the ending.
Wait, there is more?
There is more. You thought that was it? No, they don't just walk away. So we fast forward 6 months later. I don't know where they're at. They look like they're in like the south of France or something.
Yeah, international. It's all I got.
And Zoe over here wants to be like Captain Save-A-Ho and wants to like try to figure out like we need to know who's behind this and we need to stop them. And Ben's like, can we just like move on? Like we survived. Let's just be done with it. And she's like, no, I'm going with or without you. So
I would have been fine if she would have made the argument that she just wants her $10,000. I would be like, that's a justifiable reason.
I'm getting paid. That would have been so funny if she really was like that.
That was the real motivation.
Oh my god, I know, right? That probably was.
I would have been agreeing. I'd be like, let's go back.
Let's go get this money. We earned it. But basically, maybe I don't. I'm a little. I don't know how to feel about the ending. So we basically see that we don't know who it is because they were kind of like a shadowy figure, but they were basically saying, I'm glad Zoe got rid of her fear of flying because pretty much now we can kill her. Like we got her.
They were doing a simulation of how to do a puzzle on the plane.
On a plane.
That's nearly impossible to solve kind of situation.
Yeah.
They were testing it. Yeah.
So it's like, it leaves on a really dire, twisted ending.
Yeah.
It's like we still have these people that are behind this, and they, they're still coming up with new innovative ways to basically get people killed.
It ended it with the very, and I feel like this is like 90s, early 2000s horror trope where you think the main characters are safe, and then there's something that indicates that they're not safe, that they're either going to die or they have to go through this again.
When you said that, I thought of I don't know why this one, but I thought of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because like in all of those movies,
yeah,
we think the killer's dead,
yeah,
and then it turns out you've seen them, right? No, oh, you don't watch horror movies. Sorry, Ruben. Ruben doesn't watch horror movies. You've seen them, Oscar, yeah?
Yeah, some, not
okay,
all, but yeah.
But yeah, like he comes back at the very end, like it's the last shot,
right?
And we hear like a scream or something, like very just dramatic and like,
so it ends in that common thing that's been done. So, which is kind of from a business standpoint, it's the movie way of being able to say we might bring these characters back if we do a sequel, or we might just do a whole new set of new characters. And then if it works and we want to bring back the actress or the actor, we will. Which
I would be okay because I think they did that with like the second Saw, or with one of the Saws. Like didn't they bring a girl back from one of the previous Saws into the new one? It was a new group of people, but she was like the survivor from the last group or something like that.
I haven't seen Saws.
I feel like maybe yeah, and I don't mind that because it's still you're giving me something from the old. Obviously, if I'm coming to see a movie again, there was something about the old one that I liked. So you throwing me a bone and giving me an older character from the old film, I like that. I'd appreciate that. So if they did do a Escape Room 2,
which I don't think they should, but
I don't think it's necessary. But if they did, I would hope that either Ben or Zoe would be a part of it. In some capacity, that would be
probably one where they try to tell them don't do it because, you could already see where the sequels would go from the studio just wanting to make a quick buck.
I could see them they're in an escape room and like maybe they find either Zoe or Ben unconscious, and then they wake up and then they're like, no, and then they're like freaking out and everybody's like, what, are you okay? What's wrong? It's just an escape room. They're like, no, you don't understand. I survived this. And then they're like, give us little flashbacks from the first one. I've been thinking about this.
Look at you. Like Final Destination. Donnie's going to be writing the sequel to Escape Room 2.
It's going to be
exclusive here on the Reel-ists podcast.
It's going to be a very predictable, cliche, like follow every freaking format sequel. Let me just tell you, I'm not that creative. So, but if you guys don't mind that,
so the studio will hire a second writer with you. So
I'll just assist. Yeah, just let me assist with it. Let me have some little input. That's fine. I wanted to ask you, so out of all the characters that we did see die, I don't know why it's so hard for me to say it. It's like, it kind of makes me sad.
You just say that didn't escape.
That didn't escape. Were there any either surprises or characters that you wish did not go?
I mean, the other ones...
Because for me, I just want to throw that out there. I really liked Danny, and I was really hoping that he would have survived because he was a very it seemed like he was a very good person, and he was super excited to be there. So that was a hard one to see.
Well, that was I was going to say that character too, but the one reason that I didn't understand was the way he died didn't make sense in the sense of it wasn't his fault. Mm-hmm. Because I thought, and I don't know if this is the way the movie interpreted it, was that one of the characters, Ben, threw the lighter to warm up the ice that they needed to melt. He threw it to him, but like kind of, in a not actually trying to toss it, just kind of, I don't know how, just tossed it, but didn't toss it directly to him. So no one wanted to go get it, and so Danny's the only one that's like, fine, I'll go get it. Grabs it, turns around, and then the ice below him breaks, and he falls in the water. And to me, I was like, is that like...
But it like explodes.
Yeah. So I was like, so is that because was that a cheating thing? So they were just like, nope, that's cheating. That's why he died. But they didn't really indicate that. So it was kind of just like all the other characters died from the choice they decided to make. Whether that was like, this is what we should do. Oh, I'm willing to sacrifice myself. His was just like not a fair death. It wasn't like he decided. I mean, unless you're punishing him for going to grab it. Mm-hmm. But there was no indication that there's punishment if you do something that's not allowed in the game or that's not within that they provided. So they didn't establish that well. So I would say his death was probably the one that was, and I would have liked to see him not die that way and maybe died another manner.
Yeah, even if it was something more like sacrificial or like,
exactly.
Like what Amanda did, like when she kind of, sacrificed herself for everyone else, and she was like, no, it's okay. Like if Danny, because I was okay with that because she was okay with that. Although I really did like her, and I didn't want to really see anybody die, but some people got to die. Like,
yeah,
we know people are going to die. So, but yeah, I wish Danny had went in a different way.
That would have been a plot twist that no one died. You guys thought this was going to be a gruesome death horror film.
Psych.
Getting a drama film instead.
Getting a family friendly. No, but I will say I think we both can agree that we were happy to see Jason die, because it turns out he was just selfish and a bad guy.
Yeah,
and we found out that he was the sole survivor of his boating accident because he killed the other guy.
Yeah. Rather than he survived.
Yeah. So at first it made it seem like the other guy
lost it and tried to kill him, and he defended.
But no, we found out that he killed the guy.
Did he confirm it? I just didn't know if he confirmed that was the truth. I just took that as like trying to be like, well, maybe it was you all along. And
I assumed that it was true because they showed us the flashback. I feel like they wouldn't have showed us the flashback of him doing it.
True.
And he didn't deny it. So, and then he tried to kill Ben. So with all those things, I just concluded that it was true. But yeah, so that was Escape Room. Do you have a particular scene that you liked or something that stood out?
Out of the entire movie, I don't think there was any particular scene that I would probably stand out and would be like, that's something you have to see again. The pool bar scene, the one that comes, I did like they had to think fast because the floor was falling. So I would guess in terms of like the most that was more of like what's gonna happen, I think was that room. But I say probably that scene of them trying to solve the puzzle before they fall to their death was kind of the more exciting part of the movie.
Mm-hmm. I totally forgot. We've kind of forgot one room, which was the opening scene of the film. It was the one that Ben was in by himself.
That's the final room. Yeah, that was the final room.
Sorry, guys. That was the final room where the walls was just pushing together.
I didn't like that they used it in the opening, but yeah.
No? Mm-mm. I didn't. I'm trying to think if I liked it or not. I was indifferent about it. It didn't do anything for me. But other than give us a suspenseful, dramatic opening.
Which you didn't need to. Or at the very least, if you were going to, it should have been someone that was not going to be in the rest of the movie. That scene told you Ben's going to survive through all the other rooms.
Yeah.
Which lost any...
It's very telling.
Yeah. And then... Well, that's... At first, if you didn't pay attention, if you just thought that was a random person, but if you realize it was Ben, then you'd be like, oh, he survives all of this. So it tells you, too, that most likely something's going to happen to everyone else. It kind of... It controls your expectations rather than you having to just be like, I don't know what's going to happen. That's exciting me. And it was more of just like, all right, that's how that. Okay, so that person died that way. Okay, that one didn't make it because of that. Okay, that and rather than it was just like a checklist of like, all right, now we're going down. Rather than like, I don't know who's gonna die. Maybe they're all gonna die. I think that movie should have approached it with that of like, let's keep you guessing as much as we're developing, trying to get out of the room.
I think it would have been. They could have even like used, for instance, like Zoe. I guess we're calling her like the main protagonist. I mean, she's like
she's on the poster, yeah.
So yeah, that's why. Even if I feel like even if they had used her plane crash scene, like
something different would have
that would have been nice.
Another scene could have worked much better.
That would have gave us drama and some action but you know, it's fine. It is what it is. I think one of my favorite scenes was when Zoe came back, when she came back and she hit the guy over the head before he was going to kill Ben. I was like, I knew she wasn't going to die. Although, because it just seemed like, wow, like she's the main. I felt like she was the main character, at least, you know.
Well, yeah, she had the most.
I mean,
well, she was on the poster, so that was the only thing. That
was the only thing really going for. Well, I mean, because we didn't see Amanda outside of the escape room. We didn't see, right? We didn't see Amanda.
We met her.
At the escape room. Ben, he had his. Okay, so all the other characters. Danny, we met him at the escape room.
Yes.
Mike, we met him at the escape room. But Jason, Zoe, and Ben, we had some scenes with them before the escape room. So, but Zoe had a good amount of time, but it's definitely Zoe and Ben who were like the two mains. So I was like, well, they can't kill Zoe, and they didn't. So I was happy about that. So that was probably my favorite part.
Fair enough.
So with all that being said, Oscar, final real score for Escape Room.
This is a sad way to start 2019, but it is going to be a 2.5. But still, with that being said, still currently number one on the top 2019.
Still our number one movie.
But yeah, no, it is a 2.5. And it's more just of there was many missing components that could have made this film a lot more effective. I didn't have any issues with the room time, like the amount we spent on each room and the puzzles to it. I feel like that was excellent. The third additional twist or act of that twist of like the setting up kind of like a franchise, what it felt like, rather than like concluding this movie. That was a complete miss for me. I felt like it was trying to become something when no one cares. like it's they got out of the room, we're done with the movie. That's how it should be, rather than like who is running all this. I feel like if this movie would have been a global smash, like the way The Purge wasn't a big hit. It just it got a lot of people talking about it. That's what got the second to be made. If that would have been the case with Escape Room, that's fine. Like, make this first one be what it is. If people are talking about it and have theories or have ideas, then if that goes that way, make that sequel and explain how this all came together. But not for the first one. The characters, we had some care that if they made it or not. We got to kind of get their background, but nothing that really made us fear for them. It was more of just like, you're gonna have to make that choice. Okay, you're gonna die. Okay, bye. It was like that kind of simple. Of just like, I have no problem letting you go. I understand. Yeah. I understand this is your life, but goodbye. But yeah, so 2.5.
Harsh, man. Harsh. No, I got you. I'm actually gonna go a little lower and give it a 2 out of 5.
Oh, we were talking about me.
Let me give it a 2 out of 5. It was, it was what it was. It was a good time in the moment. It was, a good hour, 49 minutes of just, seeing people die one by one, and which, how they're gonna escape the next room and figure out the clues and the puzzles. And some things were just like, some moments were just so unrealistic that it was just like, I can't buy it. I know it's a movie, but whatever. But in the characters, I wish they would have. I liked Ben. I feel like we got a little substance there with Ben as a character.
A little bit, but not enough.
Yeah, and Zoe a little bit, but the rest of them were just like, I feel like just cliches. Yeah. And I don't like that. I hate when a movie just has like an archetype of a character, where that's all you see. You got the jokester, you got the badass, you got the, the ditzy blonde. Like, I don't like that in movies. And I think people, if they would just develop their characters a little more, then I feel like that can make all the difference in a movie. Even I'm not saying this is a low budget movie, but even like in a low budget kind of, you know, drama thriller or horror film, like just give us a little more something to work with these characters so I can invest more into them, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay.
One final question for you, Oscar. Does this film make you want to go to an escape room?
No, because I didn't want to go before.
So why would I start now?
So why would I change when I know now I can think I can die from an escape room?
Ruben, have you been to an escape room? And they're fun?
I loved it.
Okay, and you'd go again? Okay, awesome.
There you go.
I would go. I'd go. I mean, I'm not gonna go out of my way to like, oh my God, guys, we have to go to this escape room. But I would try it.
I don't think I need the thrill of trying to get out of a room with people. Let's just play Monopoly, guys.
Well, yeah, and I'm
It's not about getting out, it's about teamwork and brain.
Monopoly.
It's like
Mario Party. Wait.
Like, what's in your brain?
What is it? Illuminations or whatever that app is called?
Lumosity?
Lumosity.
That'll work your brain.
So we got some things we can do at home.
Yeah.
We ain't got to go anywhere and pay.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what you thought about Escape Room, if you loved it, or if you didn't think it was quite meeting your standards. Also, let us know of any escape rooms that you've been to. If you've been.
They won't be going.
Right. So
Well,
wait,
I might go. Ruben will definitely go, and I might go.
So wait, are you telling them to give us a recommendation or a story that they have? Like a good, like, oh, I was at the escape room.
Yeah, like
okay.
a story. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the SoCal area, give us a recommendation because we're by it. But if not, just tell us a story of an escape room. Speaking of, really quickly, and I don't mean to end this on like a dire note, but did you guys hear about that? Well, Oscar, you know about because I told you about it. But Ruben, did you hear about that escape room in Poland where 5 people?
My sister was telling me about it.
5 people died, burned alive, or burned, I guess.
Now
It was
that
on
made
fire.
me not want to go do an escape room.
So, well,
That was
It's a whole
real.
different country. Here they like have a camera on you. It's like security cameras. That's why I was like, how do people die? And it's just that I think it's in another country.
yeah,
Right. It was. I mean, I
Yeah,
can.
Poland.
Yeah.
So I mean, but
You would know.
I-
They'll be stuck in
I read that article like after we saw the movie. I was like, oh my God! Like, can you imagine? Well, let's not even go there. That was sad. Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
so since Ruben doesn't give us movie quotes, for the movies that he doesn't see, he automatically gives it a 1 out of 5. We're just gonna implement that.
wait. So
it wasn't good enough for him to go see it, so it's a 1 out of 5.
Ah, okay. So Ruben was a 1 out of 5.
It was a
okay.
1 out of 5.
Can we do like a 0.5 out of 5?
Let's not be too harsh. She's seen the trailer at the very least.
So it's an automatic 1 out of 5 for Ruben.
So if he wanted to see it, then it goes up to 1.5. To be fair.
Gotcha. All right, you got that movie quote ready for the next episode? Okay, well, you got about 5 minutes until we start recording again. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next time.